Good evening and good afternoon. Welcome. I know what you've been thinking. Ooh, them boys been gone a minute, but we are back, and welcome to season 2 of the resurgence as we gather people around and we bring them close to destiny and all things epic. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everybody that rocked with us for season 1. Season 1 was a time. You know what I'm saying? And then Bruce, after you had a birthday, that was crazy. Then I had a birthday, and then we just went on a full hiatus.
It was really crazy.
It got crazy. Like a birthday month, and it just got crazy. And I'm not pastoring right now, but I do got a towel, so I'm feeling kind of like a pastor.
That is you.
Come on.
Wilberforce University, y'all know what it is. Every dawn dance is epic.
Ooh.
So we had amazing. Was it amazing?
It was amazing. It was my birthday party at Dawn Dance was one that just was wait till next year. So I would like to thank y'all for that. And we love y'all and get ready for season 2. But we have so many wonderful things. That being said, I'm going to start off with something that I feel needs to be said today as we begin season 2. And shout out to everybody that rocks with us and supports us. Please like, share, subscribe. Yes. I did not forget to say it this time. I know what you're thinking. I did not forget it. In public service, scrutiny often comes with the territory. But sometimes the headlines don't tell the whole story. Our guest tonight has dedicated his time and efforts to serving his community and now finds himself at the center of serious questions and public speculation. He's here not just as a politician, but as a person, friend, and brother, ready to speak candidly, address the concerns, and share his side of the story. I believe it was Marcus Aurelius that said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. I bring to you that very man today. I would like to welcome mayoral candidate, brother Mr. Jonathan Barlow, to the Resurgence Show, season 2. Let's go. And yes, I wrote that myself. That was not ChatGPT.
I will say this. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having my partner in this fight.
I'm gonna let you do the introduction of it. Yeah. This is part 2. We're glad you're back, so we're gonna let you do that.
Well. First of all, to both of you, and to the production team, and to everyone that is listening and continues to support you all. Let me say good evening. Thank you for having me. Thank you all for listening in. But most of all, thank you for keep on doing what you're doing. It's about spreading information. And normally we kind of tend to shy away from things that might be problematic, controversial. But you all have opened up your doors to deal with a sensitive topic and some sensitive issues that our community continues to face with the many society differences that we continue to evolve into. And so rather than staying divided, I want to keep us unified. And that's why I came on this show, so that all voters and all citizens know that you don't have to run away from adversity. You can run towards it. As long as your heart is clean, as long as your mind is right and prepared, as long as you're spiritually in order with that in which you worship and fellowship with, I believe that you can make the most of any situation, regardless of how it looks right now. And so thank you all for having me. And I wanted to take this quick moment to introduce a guest that I brought with me today, because I get too tired and too frustrated when I have to hear myself talk all the time. But first, when I build tables, and as I've been building Let's Talk Roundtable for the last 18 months, to bring minds together to solve some of the city's greatest problems, both here and other places. Not just this city, Atlanta, Miami, and other places. I want to make sure that we have the best minds, the most sensitive minds at the table when the time is right. And so Ivy Nicole has joined us today to speak to the things that I might not be able to say in all the things that I want to communicate. And mainly that's because she's been on the front lines. And once I saw her, I had to start working. You can't see good talent and not bring it closer. And so when I saw Ivy working on the front lines of a number of different things that I let her share with you all in her opening statement before we get into questions about everything that's transpired, I just want the viewers, the listeners, and you all to know just a little bit more about what she does. And we'll talk about everything that we're doing later on. But just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you for inviting me and thank you for having me. So I am Ivy Nicole. I'm a social worker. I've been in the game for 11 years now. I worked with substance abuse users, chronically mentally ill. I worked with girls coming out of foster care. I worked with child abuse, sex trafficking. I remember my youngest girl was 11 years old. She was trafficked.
Jesus.
I worked with pregnant and homeless teens. I am the founder of Let's Have Girl Talk Mentoring Program. I'm the founder of She Evolves LLC. So in case you haven't noticed, my entire platform has been dedicated to women and girls, again, for the last 11 years. Ironically, I actually met John at one of my events, which was a Mother's Day event. It was the day before Mother's Day. It was our third annual Peace and Justice, a Mother's Day of Redemption. And again, this was our third year that we came together to celebrate and honor mothers who have lost their children to gun violence.
Wow.
We had it over at my church, at Church of the Messiah. We have continued to work on the front lines, eradicating gun violence, eradicating human trafficking, just putting pressure on the community about missing and exploited girls and women in the city of Detroit. I believe that's very important. And again, and my platform will just continue to build.
That's powerful. And it's funny, we just met. But when that brief meeting, I knew you had a whole wealth of knowledge. So that's why I was like digging, like, so what do you do? And where, tell me about the school thing, So I felt that vibe, you know what I'm saying? So that's what's up. Okay. So, at this point, maybe we should just get right into it.
I think we should.
We just, because this is the resurgence. This is what we do. We're going to get right into it. We're going to give Jay Barlow the floor. And we're just going to go from there. And then we're going to go into some other things in the city of Detroit that we have some people emailing and they want to ask you questions, the important stuff. But it's the important, it's the important Detroit questions. So we got a couple of those.
About the incident or about Detroit?
No, about Detroit. Okay. We're going to get the incident out the way now. That's Fugazi. Let's get through all the Fugazi.
So I wanted to come on the show to make sure that, I give you all one day, maybe 36 hours tops of me addressing an incident that has gone viral. I'm not one to really feed into media, politics, or anything like that. I'm someone who normally stays behind the camera, doesn't like to be in front of the camera unless necessary. And so let's just start by saying this. I've dedicated my life and my work to building off my grandfather's and grandmother's legacy. My grandmother grew up with Rosa Parks. My grandfather put the most women in the pulpit several decades ago. And so when it comes down to women's rights, equity, providing atmospheres for them to thrive both economically, but also at different times of their lives because they're constantly evolving, their bodies are constantly changing. I believe, even though I've never been married and never had kids, I still believe that we as men should create the family atmosphere that says that we're gentlemen enough to support our women.
True.
Now, how does that come out and how does that get lived out? Well, Vito, I'm so glad that you invited me on because us and the incident started at a fraternity party.
Wow.
We're fraternity brothers. So we don't party as hard as the Omega Psi.
I do some bangers myself. I don't want to get off top.
but we all know the cues be out. Let's just say it for what it is.
Okay.
Alphas are a little bit more reserved at times. We all have assimilated to our different groups and our different fraternities. Landscape is in the fraternity and sorority world. What we do know is we come together.
Right.
We come together out of peace, out of love, and out of trying to build community for everyone. And so me going to an AKA party at Charles H. Wright Museum earlier that day.
Right. Walk us through the day. That's what walk us through.
8 a.m. 8 a.m. I got up, started my day normally at 7:30. But 8 a.m. I started my day. I had several interviews. I had several forums to attend to that I have been a part of. It started early and it was back to back. By the time 4, 5, 6 o'clock arrived, it was time to get to the Charles H. Wright Museum to deal with the AKA event. AKA Asian is what they call it, like invasion, but AKasian.
I like it. Shout out
almost
to the
either occasion or invasion, kind of put into AKA.
Either way, I like it. Shout out.
I mean, Greeks have a wonderful way of changing titles of different things. Right. But regardless, going to an AKA party at the Charles H. Wright Museum, then moving over to the East Franklin location, 1440. Right on the corner of Rehoboth, I believe it's Steve's Soul Food. And they have a great patio. Almost 500 to 700 Black, African-American. You have some different ethnicities, but these are Black, African-American Greeks and sororities.
And I missed that party?
You did miss the party. It was too many cues. It wasn't too many alphas in the party.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But just because of my great relationships across the board, I was well received. Had conversations with everybody from Joe Torre to Howie Bell.
Wow.
I remember vividly the conversations that we had. I even saw Steve Soul Food set up in the back on the truck doing his thing, and I went ahead and spoke to the gentleman that's often working the truck. Okay. But what happened was, after this great occasion, where I gave almost tens to almost 100 hugs to people that I've seen over the years, and I felt really at home. It was time to go. Right. As it always is at the end of a great celebration. Right. And so in the midst of leaving, while making sure that all of my guests that came from the AKA party were very well in good standing and could very well make it to their homes and to their cars safely. Right. We made sure that we moved some cars around, got some people into their car and got them off on their way with their guests. Right. But then upon really moving one of the last few cars around and exiting a parking lot, as I had already campaigned several times getting in and out of the car, I went to approach a group of ladies who had just walked past. Right. Well, these 6 young ladies were on different sides of the street, in the middle of the street. Even though I knew they were having fun, I didn't think they were overly intoxicated. Okay. And actually, the majority of them weren't. So when I approached, I like to hand them a flyer, try to make sure that they understood who I was, because I've been on plenty of doors and plenty of porches around the city. And you walk up on some of these porches, when you see the signs in the windows, and you understand the cars and the way and what neighborhood you're in, you think twice. Right. So I'm always very cautious to approach anyone who's in their space, in a very aggressive or non-gentleman-like manner. And so when I approached them, I started handing a flyer. The young lady says, "Take a video of me." I'm thinking her girls then left her, which they were very well distanced from her. You don't got no friends. You don't got no one to be able to take a picture at that time. Right. The normal response is, let me have this guy who's sitting right here take the picture. Almost instant photographers in most parties thing. That's true. And so I didn't hesitate. I quickly obliged. I said, I'll take it with my phone and I'll send it to you. And so before I knew it, her friend approached. Another young lady followed her. And she said, she doesn't want to talk to you. What you doing? Get away from us. You're harassing us. Wow. Now, leaving this fraternity party and being around other sorority sisters and sorority members, you would think that she would greet us, or greet me rather, or enter the conversation in a very cordial way. Because as Greeks... Is she Greek? Well, there's a poodle by her name. Oh, here we go. Now, get this. Here we go. Now, I didn't restrain. Okay. But get this. I call a spade a spade. Okay. And I'm not showing or putting any context on that organization that's represented by poodles or uses that as a symbol. Right. I don't want to ever mention them as the conduit or as the ones who developed someone who's done these type of things and exaggerating the truth and providing misinformation. Right. We don't know. We don't know. And get this, I don't even want to do my research. I don't even want to go find out who this young lady is, because I'm not trying to live any longer, and have not been, with a malicious or vengeful attitude rather than a forgiving first approach. Sure. And so I forgive whoever it is. I don't even want to know. I don't care, because I've already felt the pain. I've already felt the scrutiny. I've already felt the slandering, but I'm better for it. Right. God didn't build me for a time such as this to let everything go by the wayside and start to become something lesser than what I am. either I'm going to rise above this situation,
right,
or I'm going to be defeated and I'm going to be stumped underneath the ground for it. Mm-hmm. And so what I wanted to do was ensure them, that group, as well as I'm assuring all other voters and supporters of my campaign for mayor of the city of Detroit, is that I will do everything it takes so that someone knows my heart and knows that I'm making decisions on their behalf when I'm elected. And right. That's what I did in that moment. Because once she created that controversy by saying, I'm going to pull out my phone and put you on TikTok, once I told her that her girl told me to take a video and she insisted that I leave, I said to myself, is that what civic engagement and elections have come to? To whereas I can be at a place in my own comfort zone and want to tell another individual that isn't civically engaged, does not know anyone who's running for mayor, has not seen me on any other TV station or anything because they haven't done their research. Is this what's really happening to me when I'm trying my best to communicate what my goals for not only myself, but for their family as well as the leader of this city? And so maybe I'm an optimist. Maybe I'm someone who just dreams that everybody can get along. But I'm a conflict resolution expert that I feel is at the level and at the top of his game by being a minister 10 years, by having coached basketball in public and charter schools, by working in offices with angry parents when they come into the office, when a teacher then did something to their youth or their student or their child. I've seen all types of evidence by being in entertainment 20 years, from security hitting everybody to security getting pummeled themselves. It does not matter. I've seen it all. But I've seen when we've escorted and carried out mothers from the Detroit Public School Board meetings back in the 90s. Detroit has always been a controversial place where politics can run away and we can get confused as to who's telling the truth. Right. And so what I did not want to do was leave that situation without having my voice heard, being able to tell them that I want to resolve. I don't want her to put me on TikTok. Right. But what I did not know was she was so adamant, so intoxicated, and so full of pride and ego that she did not want to take the time to talk. So the whole conversation for the next 4 minutes, not an hour, not 30 minutes, which it takes to walk a mile, which she was quoted in Bridge, Detroit, as me walking that long with her, not 6 blocks, which takes downtown Detroit, walking 6 blocks from Rehoboth to Woodbridge to Renaissance Center. Listen, none of what she says took place. But get this, I still sympathize with her. I still forgive her, and I still regret any trauma that she or her friends experienced, not only in that moment, but any other moment before then. Because it's not for me to judge what her interpretation or perception was. It's for me to adjust my character, adjust my approach, and learn from my mistakes, and go at this as the leader that I know I am, in order to make sure the next time I don't enter into the same situation and have the same result. And that's what I think Detroit needs as a leader, for them to be able to attack controversy and adversity head on, for us not to be shamed or embarrassed when we do mess up, but for us not to let any family fall through the cracks and engage everybody equitably and equally. Because if I had not engaged her, she would have never known that I was running for the mayor of the city of Detroit. And she would have never been able to even have an option to vote for me. Now, after the incident, she might not want to vote for me because she's going to spend money to discredit my name. But what I can tell you is that I feel empowered. I feel supported by all those who have called me, send great words and wishes, because they see my name being dragged through the mud and they don't want to accept it. They're angry. They want to lash out, and I will regret it and be totally remiss if I will give them more information than necessary for them to form plans of attack to harm somebody else when we've already been harmed internationally by this going viral, which we just a mere reflection of our political constructs and system. If it happens in DC, it can happen here. And we just witnessed it with someone that you have sitting in front of you that has done everything from help our grassroots organizations to defending women's rights. And in a minute, you're going to hear about what I've been working on for 2 months with Ivy as to how we can prevent situations like this from happening. So, Vito, again, thank you for letting me share my story. Thank you for letting me come on. I'm not going to belabor the point anymore. I'm going to make sure that every Detroiter and everyone around the world knows that this incident is something that we all can learn from. And family is at the center of my agenda, in which we're going to reach every family and make sure that social atmospheres, both daytime and nighttime, don't contribute to the misinformation or the ills of our society.
Right. See right there? You see?
What are you asking me for?
You see, went in.
So I had a question that I was going to ask, and you already kind of covered it. Basically just asking, where you are mentally with everything, and you pretty much covered it. So, I mean, if you wanted to expound on that more, just I guess how you feel based off everything you said, where you stand, how you holding up since then, and you kind of just covered that. If you have more to address with that, you can. If not,
I want to do this. I want to do this because I'm very curious, and I want to be able to show not only Detroit, but the world. And I talk to Ivy all the time. But me as a politician, I knew what I was getting myself into.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Me as an entertainment specialist, concierge, extraordinaire, for clients abroad and domestic, I know what I'm up against when protecting them or dealing with the industry. But ultimately, what I want the world to know is that I'm going to stop and give up my time to make sure I understand the other side. And so I'd rather pass it to Ivy to help us to understand, what do women think about and what do women experience when they're faced with situations that they don't want to be around certain men and certain males in certain environments or certain times of the night. But then also, what is it that we can do to ease their comfort and create more comfortability for them? Because sometimes, and a lot of times, it's not the guy that's trying to get on.
Right.
No, every guy don't want every girl.
Right. Yeah.
You are not my dream girl just because you came across 5-10 feet in my path. Mm-hmm. No, just because it's not like that. So I want to give her the opportunity, because we have her here, to make sure that we learn just as much as we're able to communicate. So I apologize.
Oh, no.
All right, so it's girl time.
Hey, it's a meeting of the ladies. Come on.
All right, so from a social worker perspective, John, I don't think you did anything wrong, right? And I'm going to say this. Women have a lot of trauma that's unaddressed, right? Mm-hmm. Especially within the Black community. Black women don't get the treatment. We don't talk about mental health. We don't talk about anxiety. We don't talk about depression. We don't talk about what happened to us when we was 8 years old with Uncle whoever, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of trauma. So anything can trigger a woman, from the scent of your cologne to the way your hair is cut, to the way your hair is not cut, to the color of your shoes, to anything, to you reminding me of that person, right? This is the psychology behind the woman that she doesn't even realize that has happened, because it's so much suppressed energy within her. Again, this is why I'm here. I want to specialize in women's mental health, because I do believe in giving women that outlet to be able to express their trauma, to be able to be honest, not with me, but with yourself, right? Because that's very important. You ain't got to tell me all your business, but at least tell you all your business. At least be able to look in the mirror and say, you know what, this is what happened, and this may be why I do what I do. I support therapy, not because that's what I do. I mean, I just had to see mine today. I'm open in front, right? So I believe that having therapy, having that outlet, that person, that professional to help you work through things is very, very important. And if I could be transparent, I've worked in nightlife, right? So, I mean, I get it. But again, I was one of the blessed ones to make it out the game. A lot of girls wasn't. A lot of women wasn't. I worked with women that was 40, 50, 60 years old.
Wow.
In nightlife, right? So again, this is trauma. This is generational trauma from your mom, from your grandparents, from your great-grandparents. backing all the way back to slavery. This is what it is. This is how a woman is designed, and this is how we typically operate. And I hope that answers your question.
It did, but to answer your question, you don't know you in the game and you're a celebrity till you're in the game.
Then you know it's on and popping now.
when everybody calling nationwide.
Yeah, let's get into that.
That's when you know.
Yeah, you're in the game.
Excuse my language. Part of,
come on.
If you predominantly organizations, the Elks, the Moors, within the African American community, you don't know what you're getting yourself into until you start.
Until you in. That first day, this is what it's like.
Man, yeah.
That's for those who are initiated. I don't want to get too hyped, but I'm gonna let you cook. Go ahead.
But that's another show, right?
That's a whole nother. That show gonna be crazy.
Imagine for me to, in the first 48 hours, you always think you're famous until you get to another level of fame. And so to be famous at the level that you always wanted to be, and for it to happen in a situation that you have to explain whether you were right, wrong, or whether you apologize or didn't have to apologize. Just the fact of having that conversation for the first time and it not being a success, like you won a championship.
Right.
Or you were able to change this type of law or lead this movement. As much work as I've done for the last 25, 30 years of my life coming out of middle school and high school, I never thought that my first viral national moment and public moment would be something that's totally contrary to my character.
Right. Exactly. Right.
That right there can probably kill a brother. That can tear a brother down and send him into a depression never before. But it all ties back to the traumas and the positive childhood experiences versus the adverse childhood experiences.
I think that one thing because I'm out and about in the city, so I'm having this conversation with tons of people today. Let me zone in over here. And I think one thing that makes you unique is that you're with the people. It's like, everybody wants somebody they can relate to. So you're with the people and you're in these environments where you wouldn't think no politicians are going to come here. And then John Barlow walks in like, oh, what's up, man? So, which I think is a strength. But I guess to touch on what Ivy was saying, and stop me if I'm wrong, there's an element of danger with that if you run across someone, and we all have traumas, but if you run across someone who's experiencing a trauma, they may react to you in the way that you don't deserve, and you just, I'm going to lash out because you remind me of the person. Is that where we were kind of? Yeah.
You're I'm reacting to you because of what Uncle Bob did. Right. I'm taking it out on you because I can't do nothing to him. So I'm taking it out on you. Okay. Because you remind me. Okay.
Wow.
So now that leads me to the question, do you feel like in that moment when they became aware of who you were, they tried to use that as an opportunity to basically slander you or present you in this light?
I believe that once the young lady approached and pulled out her phone looking to go viral in TikTok, there was a combination of you're a mayoral candidate and I know how to use social media to my advantage.
Right.
The issue and what she did not, I don't believe, consider is that she didn't do her research on my moral and ethical character or where I come from. I don't come from a stock or a fabric that can be torn and shredded based off of public perception. It has roots that are generational and built on legacy of civil and human rights. I don't play those games.
Right.
So for her to come even at me like that publicly was a very big misstep.
Right.
Because I won't defame her. I won't maliciously go after her. I want to do nothing but forgive her. But I'm going to speak true to what the situation, which is that we can't succumb or even be susceptible to this type of misinformation because it perpetuates, distracts, and ultimately guides us off of the track that we need to be on in order to be successful as a community. Nobody can win if we have constant individuals at the smallest and the lowest of levels who don't even engage, ultimately trying to inform us of what truth is. That makes no sense.
And then to Ivy's statement, I would like to ask too, why is it that the trauma is not addressed? Why is therapy not considered? And I get that we all have traumas, we all have PTSD, we all have experiences, and the first thing you try to do is self-heal. But then there are certain things that you cannot self-heal from. So what is it that makes people just decide that they, or I will just say, since you speaking on behalf of women, why is it, what do you think is the reason why they don't pursue that avenue of therapy or trying to get help from those things professionally?
Where do I start? Lack of resources in the Black community.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. Lack of resources in the Black community. You good. You don't need to be telling everybody your business. We just gonna pray about it. What stays in the house, stays in the house.
Yeah.
Like, no. What happens, it's just like we don't talk about those things. Going to therapy is not cool. And, just kind of like piggyback off of y'all with the whole aspect of, like, once she realized who you were, is that why she did what she did? That's a form of trauma, too. And it's a personality flaw, right? So, I mean, I don't know her, but just like going off of like what the social media looks like, it appears as though I ain't diagnosing nobody. However, it can be perceived as a personality disorder, which is oftentimes not diagnosed. Even if you have like a diagnosable psychological disorder or some sort, right? Borderline personality disorder is one of the most common personality disorder amongst women, right? This is the woman that's lit. She, she is. Right, she lit. She's attention seeking. She gonna do whatever she can do for attention. She doesn't think of the consequences. She just want to feed her ego in that moment because of the pain and the trauma that she can't heal. So she just gonna pop out.
Or choosing not to heal. Or choosing not to heal.
But this is her way of healing.
Yeah.
This is her way of healing. Again, it appears as though borderline personality disorder. I ain't saying check the DSM-5.
So, bars, real quick. Bars. Frank Murphy, fellow Woo alum.
Frank, what up, though? Woo in the building. Get at your boy.
Now, Frank says, to be honest, truth is determined by the best narrative spinner when it comes to social media. It's the unfortunate reality of the monster that the media is. But I think what you just said is very powerful, and it kind of it goes along with what he's saying for us as a collective, as a community, for our culture specifically. And I've been working in the same field for 16 years, kind of bragging on it low key, even though I'm tired of it. But at the same time, it's like, yes, you start to notice. I've learned more about myself working in this field and the things that I may struggle with by observing everybody else. And I do say that, yes, therapy is not something that our culture is, really encourages yet. It's absolutely necessary. I've done therapy before. It took me years to get there, but when I finally did it, I understood this is a checkpoint for me. I absolutely need to talk to somebody, unload the things that I'm feeling. So as a collective, do you feel like it would start with women taking that step and maybe possibly being an example for men, for the Black men to also follow that step too? Do you think that women could be the pioneers that lead us into that path of seeking therapy if they decided to do that thing?
Yeah, most definitely. I think everyone, should have therapy. And I believe men and women are a partner. They are partners, right? I mean, to answer your question, yeah, I believe in men having therapy. I believe in men going to therapy. I believe that the woman should encourage the man to seek therapy and just to provide just that safe space for men in general. Because I think, we're going to date back to the 60s, when pretty much it was illegal for the man to be in a crib, right? So what happened? Now we're here. The third wave of the feminist movement pretty much popped out and saying women liberation, we can do anything. Well, yeah, we can do anything, right? Because we can work, we can, right? But never said that men ain't shit. It never said that.
I think that's what's being said on the back channels of it.
Yeah.
That's the
never
line.
said that. I never. I got a whole degree. I never read that.
Because it's not written down. That's one of them things where like somebody beef with you and you know they beef with you, but they ain't saying they beef with you. It's like an unsaid type of thing. I think we have a lot of ill will against each other as men and women. And that's probably another show for another day, but I know y'all been waiting on that battle of the sexes too. Well, Ivy, we're going to need you on that show. We're all going to need therapy. After that, I guarantee you and promise you, everyone will need therapy. And we're going to gather around and receive it. I remember when they wouldn't let you get your degree without going to at least 3 therapy sessions. Mm-hmm. And at that point, you're at the end of you're at the end of your degree. And that was like, just give me my diploma and stop just shifting money from me. What more do you people want? And you got to go to 3 therapy sessions. So I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah, depending on the field.
On the field, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I had to go. And I'm thinking, I just want my tassel cap and just so I could do my thing. So when I went in there, I'm not going to say I wasn't taking it serious, but I kind of was like, well, just another hoop I got to jump through. So when I went in there, it wasn't what I was thinking, even though it was like kind of school requirement to do. It wasn't what I was thinking. And she actually was laughing. So I was like, so let me get this straight. I can say anything I want to you. And that's what it is. She was like, well, yeah, what do you want to talk about? I was like, oh, snap, I'm really Tony Soprano over here. So she bust out laughing, which I might be similar to Tony Soprano. But she was like, well, yeah. So talking to her, I was like, oh, I see why that could be helpful, because talking to somebody who is not emotionally connected to you can give you a different viewpoint because they don't have no skin in the fight.
How is the word safe space?
Oh, you gonna cook on that?
That is, listen.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, we got a little time and we got questions. So I'm going to say this too, though, but I do feel like this. If therapy is not the route that you choose to take, it is absolutely important that you have a safe space to vent to share things with. That is so important. And I feel like that is something that is absolutely lacking in Black culture, the safe space.
That's true.
If I can't go to you and tell you my most personal things without it getting spread through various circles or you trying to use that against me at some point, I honestly just can't have you in my circle. That's just reality. That's what we talked about yesterday with the article I read about the lack of emotional vulnerability, especially in the Black community, because everybody gangster. We all gangsters. Everybody gangster. So there's like no emotional vulnerability. And I think that's the disconnect between men and women, because there is almost like a disdain or a dislike. It's something. Yeah. Something's not quite right because can't nobody get along. Marriages are a disaster. Yeah. And it's just right. Yeah. And we're the only culture that's kind of.
We can't recreate family.
Right.
Meaning that if we don't intentionally address our traumas and create pathways to solutions, which aren't always psychological.
Right.
They work their way into the biology, the biology of it, the makeup, the DNA. That's what creates some of the disorders that we have within our body. So not only are we mentally handicapped, but then we become physically and nutritionally handicapped. Mm-hmm. Thus, it has to be a well-rounded health and wellness approach to working our way out of it. If not, we become totally trapped
in a pattern.
In a pattern of a revolving door that never will get us into the building itself. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And we'll be outside looking in the whole time, never be able to live life with the...
Me, directly, I just need about 500,000. I want to ask for too much.
Nah, because we got to split that. You know what I'm saying? Give me some...
I mean, yes, we'll go to Somerset. Why? He knows I'm going to share with him. I
do want to say 2 quick things before we go.
For sure.
Me and Ivy last year, in the last few months, and she's really the lead on it. Mm-hmm. And we're going to bring some more operational staff in play to really catapult and accelerate it. But the number onevibe.org, again, onevibe.org is what we started in order to create exactly what you just touched on. Mm-hmm. More safe nights and safe spaces.
Okay.
More awareness of community events and podcasts like yours that are showcasing positive content, but also a way for us to build wealth together to work our ways out of some of the economic blockades that we find ourselves running against. And so what I just want to do is, again, thank you all for letting us come on.
For sure.
I want to thank Ivy for coming on with me. She's been just a great eye-opener, and she said things that I definitely could not say to be able to help us understand how we can all win in controversial and adversarial situations like I find myself in. But I reflect the city of Detroit. Just because I'm not mayor doesn't mean that the city of Detroit isn't having a light shined on it that it doesn't need right now.
Exactly.
And so I want to be the responsible party and accountable and transparent enough to help the world understand that we're great. We're good.
You know what? I'm so glad that, you can, and you brought Ivy along. Now we got a new friend. You know what I'm saying? It's a new friend. So we're going to do a battle of the sexes. We're going to need you. Okay. John Barlow, you always at home here, brother. Whenever you want to come back, do another show, we can, we season 2 now. Rodney, we season 2 out here, baby.
I opened up season 2?
You did. Yeah. He closed out season 1. Yeah, you closed out season 1. And you opened up season 2.
Oh, my goodness.
So y'all heard it here first. Did you get your answers? That's what I want to hear. We would like to thank y'all for coming out to because I ain't coming to preach to y'all this evening. Get the collection plate. What? You see my brothers? Yeah, he's looking at me. You see this? So I got to deal with. I ain't even getting Get the collection. Get the collection plate. Right. Get around that side. Get around that side. I would like to thank y'all for joining us in season 2. It has been an epic time. We have so many fun events for you this season. Be ready for brand new topics, brand new guests, surprise antics. I will be cutting hair this season on the show. Suzanne! All right. I will be cutting hair this season on the show. So look forward to that. I'm going to start with my people. I'm going to start. Maybe John Barlow will come back. I'll give him a haircut. Then I'll cut my brother's hair. Then I'm going to cut Rodney's hair. And then Romeo's going to come. I'm going to cut Romeo's hair. So it'll be a time. A time will be had. You join, you're going to see me cut hair. I am actually a barber. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the thing. So thank y'all for coming out. We love y'all. Season 2. I mean, I can do styling too. I do it all. You know what I'm saying?
I'm blowing y'all.
I feel that. We're going to talk about that too. So I want to thank y'all for coming out again. Season 2. Get ready. We love y'all. Peace out. Resurgence Show. Yeah.